Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is I, GW Foley, and you are watching, maybe listening, but definitely watching, to a Foley Kills the Podcast, the only podcast that allows me time to sit and think on Monday mornings about how things are going, how they've been, and what's coming up for me. Yeah, let's get at it. Bam! If I had an intro video, it would happen right there, but I don't. I need to get fancy. I need to get fancy with this podcast and do like abrupt cuts where all of a sudden like my face is really close to the camera and then back and I'm just lazy, I think. It's always one of those things where I don't know. I like the raw footage look of me just talking into the camera and saying what I want to say compared to having it be heavily edited and all the pauses taking out. Fuck. If I took out all the pauses, do you know how short this podcast would be? Oh man, he's drinking coffee. Oh, cut it. We don't need that footage. I think it's an important part of who I am to have those pauses and to see the fact that I'm thinking about shit and not just putting it together to splice and make pretty. Real life is ugly. And real life, it has its challenges. I'm a firm believer in believing that we should see life with the warts and all, and not just the beauty marks. So that's why shit isn't fancy. Also, I'm also fucking lazy. That's the other real reason is I am so goddamn lazy. I need to find someone to do some intro music for me. If you can see, I have instruments. Hopefully you saw them. And I could probably record them doing something, but I don't, because it's not that I don't have talent. It's more of I'm just so fucking lazy. Like, I have to fix my bass. I tried putting new knobs on the control pots, and they were push-on. And when I pushed, the whole pot went into my bass. So I need to go inside and look and make sure that everything's okay before I turn it on, which sucks. It's a lot of extra work, and I just don't. I have the time to do it. I'm just lazy, man. That's it. That should be the name of the podcast. I'm just lazy, man. Fun story about me. Last week, so let's start back. My dog is a licker. He loves licking people. It's a soothing thing for him. It's where he will just constantly lick and give you kisses, and that's his way of calming down with dealing with his anxiety. As a guy who has anxiety himself, I completely understand this tactic. There's times when I'm really anxious that all I want to do is be held and touched and caressed and told that everything's going to be okay. He, goddamn coughing. But, yeah, so he's a huge licker. And he does this thing where he'll lick my legs at night, which gets really annoying because his tongue's a little rough, and it will irritate my skin. and then I will scratch the irritation because it itches. And I got dermatitis on my legs because of it, and they weren't healing. Nothing sexier than walking around with fucking oozing open wounds on your legs where they just look nasty. And just completely gross. Jess, my wife, said that they looked like hamburger meat. I was kind of there. I got what she was putting down. So I decided to go to urgent care instead of my primary care because I wanted to be seen that day. And the PA there was phenomenal. It's very rare that I find someone that has a similar sense of humor as I do, especially out in the real world. Like my comic friends, yeah, but we can joke around all the time, and that's kind of what we do. But it's weird to find someone like that outside in the wild, where it's like, oh, I can connect with you on some level. You speak my language. So that was awesome. But she put this weird medicated gauzes on my legs and wrapped them in ace bandages and said that I can't get them wet, which sucks. So that means I haven't showered since Thursday. I feel gross. I have a couple more days before I can take off the bandages and be able to shower. I just want a nice, long, hot shower. That sounds so good right now. I've been doing the horse bath where you put your leg on the sink counter, and wash your balls, wash your crotch, make sure all of that is cleaned out, wash the pits, throw the deodorant on. But there's something about a nice, long, hot shower which really makes me just ache for the days where I could just hop in and be like, ooh, soap, pouring the soap on. Oh, scrub a dub. Scrub a dub. Yeah. But a couple more days and I should be able to shower. I'm not a filthy person by any stretch of the imagination. Back in the day I used to be. But now I'm I need a shower at least every other day. I try to go for every day. That doesn't always work, but at least every other day. I'm clean enough where I can skip a day and be fine. I think anyways. I don't have that fat guy smell, that diabetes permeating out of my pores smell. So good on me for that. And hopefully as I lose weight, the chances of me getting that fat guy smell is lessened. Because the fat guy smell is gross. And that's coming from a fat guy. I don't need to smell your chicken grease fucking crotch as I sit there and try to talk to you about anything. It's so distracting. It's so gross. It's just nasty. Nasty. Going back to school, starting today after the podcast. I'll edit it and then get working on everything that I need to do for the week. This summer semester is going to be a bear. I'm taking a full load, 5 classes. And what was I thinking? I was thinking I need to get shit done. That's what I was thinking. But it seems like such a, not a chore, but such a time commitment to do. And I'm always afraid that things aren't getting done. like when they have to be and when they're due. Like, I'm terrible at time management. I try to be good. Like, I try to sit down and like schedule out everything. But I don't. I try to remember everything, and sometimes things forget. Which, man, if I would be dangerous if I actually kept to a schedule. The shit I would be able to get done. Man, yeah. But school, 5 courses, 15 credits, which is a lot. It's a lot to do. I can do it. I have faith in me. It's going to be a lot of writing, a lot of reading, and filmmaking. I'm taking a filmmaking course. So hopefully with the skills I learn in that, I can bring to the podcast and make the podcast better. Bam! Yeah. Maybe I'll learn how to edit a fucking intro clip. Be like, take that. Here's something with music. Or not. I can just be completely lazy. Because this is mine. I did want to bring up something that I'm of two minds in. And I don't know how I feel about it, so I think I'm going to talk it out onto camera and see if you guys agree with me or not. And if not, that's fine. I completely understand. And if you do agree with me, cool. Maybe I'm onto something. Backstory is a comedian, Tony Hinchcliffe, who does the Kill Tony podcast, where it's basically a comedy open mic where there's a lottery, you get picked, you do a minute on stage of material, and then you get interviewed by the panel, and the panel makes fun of you, and people laugh. And I used to listen to the podcast. I don't anymore, not for any particular reason other than I just don't have time to listen to it, and it got really stale for me. Does that make like I just fell out of the podcast. It wasn't anything particular where I was like, oh my god, I can't believe that's happening, or anything like that. I did listen to it for a while when it first started, and now I'm over it. But I think Tony is a good comedian. In general, he's a roast style comic. Like he's worked for Comedy Central's roast, like celebrity roast of like Justin Bieber and stuff like that. I'm not sure which ones exactly did he work on, but I know that he has worked on those, and especially like a lot of his stuff is roasty. Like he'll roast audience members. Like Kill Tony, he roasts the other comics. He's a roast comic. Which often, I know in my experience with roasts, you're making fun of somebody that you care about. The few roasts that I've done, which I love doing, like I think they're great, and normally I know everyone that's there, so I got a lot of material that I can work with that. The incident with Tony, which happened, was he was following a comic. I believe the name was Pang Dang. I should have written that down. or learned how to pronounce his name. But he was following a comic who happened to be of Asian descent. And the comic that brought Tony up was recording the set. And when Tony went up, he went full roast. Never go full roast, apparently. And said a racial slur about the comic before him that brought him up. And used the something you find in armor word, like a blank in the armor, but not like that. I'm just trying to give you context of what's going on. I went and did a couple other jokes about him vomiting into a bucket because everyone was hooping and hollering for the previous comic. Made jokes about takeout and a bunch of Asian related jokes. Now, that being said, I feel that I'm not racist. Let me just say that. Like, I don't believe in one thing is better, or one race is better than the other. So, and I don't think in terms like that, which is weird. I don't know. It's not weird. That's probably the way that people should think, is not in terms of race, or nationality. Like, my friends back home would, like, one's Russian, and we'd make fun of him for being Russian. The other one's German, we'd make fun of him for being German. Stuff like that. Nationalities we'd make fun of. And that was just ball busting. Which, given the context of being a roast comic, one tends to bust balls. Like, that is the idea of roasting, is to bust the other person's balls and to make jokes about them. Did he go a little far? Yes, he did. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh no, he's fine, everything he said was proper. It wasn't. It wasn't necessarily cool to say. I get the sentiment of what he was doing. He was trying to be funny, and it came out completely wrong. Am I going to judge him for that? Yeah, I will. Like, I don't know how you pull back from, like, I've done a roast and I made fun of someone's nationality in it, but it was fully expected. I can see being on a showcase where you're performing and this someone higher up in the industry is coming up and being excited to pull them up, and then getting roasted by them, not expecting it. I can see the part where that was hurtful, coming from, I believe, Peng's point of view. But I also feel that you tend to roast people that you actually enjoy in life, or you could just be a complete dick. Which both are true. But the main thing is, I think he was trying to be funny. And that deserves some sort of credit, that he was at least trying to be funny. It wasn't like he was saying it maliciously or in the green room or behind his back. He was trying to generate laughter, which, I don't know. I get where he's coming from, and I don't think that the flack that he's gotten, like, I understand some of the flack. I get it. Everyone knows now racial epithets aren't cool. Slurs aren't cool. I get that. I also think that he was going for a shock joke and not necessarily doing it to hurt the guy's feelings, if that makes sense. So how I feel about it is, maybe put in that similar situation, maybe I wouldn't have done some of those jokes, I guess. This is tough. This is really tough. I know. Well, and that's not my style of comedy anyways. I'm more self-deprecating than that. Would I have done those jokes? No. Do I understand why he did those jokes? Yes. Do I agree with him doing those jokes? No. But you also have to sit there and realize that comedy is about taking risks. Sometimes risk doesn't pay off. And this is one of those times. I don't think Tony is racist. I think he was literally trying to do what he was trying to do, and make jokes and be funny. And I think some of the snippet that was shown was taken out of context. A little bit. I mean, using an Asian slur, there's very little context to actually be taken out of. But I don't know. I don't necessarily think he should have been dropped by his management. But I don't know. I think he's going to bounce back, because he is a strong comic, regardless of what people are saying about him now. People that have been canceled for worse have come back and done things. So there's hope for Tony. And he probably learned a lesson in all of this. Probably. I don't know. I'm not going to play psychologist and get in his head. But hopefully he learned a lesson. I know I have. No racial slurs. Not that I used them before, but if I did, I would stop doing it. But yeah, that's the podcast. And tell me what you think. Am I completely wrong about what happened to Tony? And am I off base? Am I an out of touch old white man? I could be. Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, please. I want to get viewership up, and maybe if I get viewership up, I'll start doing different reaction videos and all the other YouTube crap that goes along with finding your channel. So I know I was going to end the podcast, but it just reminded me. Hickory, the drunk magician, Hickory the drunk and underwhelming, he started doing music reaction videos on his podcast, and he literally jumped like 40 people. Like he doubled the size of his subscriber base by doing one reaction video that people liked. Which, cool, good for him. I'm jealous. I need to get something to get viewers' attention. I think. I don't know. Make something spicy. Hopefully this is it. But like I said, like, subscribe, comment, anything to help the algorithms make me a more popular YouTuber. Because Daddy needs that money. Get Daddy the money. Yeah. So there's that. Thank you very much for paying attention to me. And as always, stay lovely. See you next week.